You're listening to Faith, Stewardship, and Insurance, Protecting Texas Churches. The show that gives pastors and church leaders the clarity they need to protect their people, property, and ministry.
Welcome back to Faith, Stewardship, and Insurance, Protecting Texas Churches. I'm your host, Ron Wadley with Insurance for Texans. We help church leaders protect their people and property with wisdom and clarity. Today we are going to talk about workers' compensation insurance and how it fits into your church's insurance plan. Fred is an elder at his church in Amarillo, and recently he was asked to review the insurance coverage for the church staff. While it sounded simple at first, it wasn't so simple once he started looking at it. The deeper he got into the plan, the more uncomfortable he became. He couldn't find workers' compensation anywhere in the paperwork. Fred knew enough to know that workers' compensation isn't required in Texas businesses or churches. That part didn't surprise him. What surprised him was how unsure everyone else on the board was about whether skipping it was actually a good idea. No one could remember why they didn't have it, and no one could clearly explain what would happen if a staff member got hurt. Just because Texas law allows churches to go without workers, compensation doesn't mean the risk disappears. It just means the responsibility shifts. As Fred began asking better questions, he learned something important. Without workers' compensation, if a church employee is injured while working, the church becomes responsible for medical bills, lost wages, and potentially legal costs. And unlike workers' comp claims, those situations don't come with built-in protections against lawsuits. For a church, that kind of exposure can be devastating. Workers' compensation exists to cover job-related injuries. That includes accidents while setting up for services, lifting equipment, preparing for events, or traveling for ministry-related activities. It's not limited to dramatic incidents. Sometimes it's a slip on a wet floor or a strained back from moving chairs. When workers' comp is in place, medical expenses are covered, lost income is addressed, and just as important, the church gains protection from being sued for additional damages as long as negligence isn't involved. That's when Fred realized this wasn't just about insurance. It was about caring for staff. Workers' compensation protects staff by making sure they're not left on their own if they get hurt serving the church. And it protects the church by preventing one injury from turning into a financial crisis that pulls resources away from ministry activities. One thing Fred also learned is that workers' compensation is very different from health insurance. Health insurance handles everyday medical needs. It does not step in when an injury happens on the job. If a staff member gets hurt while working, health insurance alone can leave massive gaps. Workers' comp fills that gap. Another surprise the elders figured out was learning that volunteers are usually not covered by workers' compensation. This mattered because, like many churches, their church relied heavily on volunteers. It means churches need to understand exactly who is protected, how, and where the lines are drawn. By the time Fred finished working through this with an experienced church insurance specialist, his perspective had changed. Workers' compensation wasn't just another line item. It was a way to protect people who serve faithfully and to guard the church's future at the same time. That's what true Texas church insurance is designed to do. It doesn't just check boxes. It helps churches think clearly about real risks and real responsibilities. If your church has staff and you're unsure how workers' compensation fits into your coverage, now is the time to get clarity. Reach out to the church insurance agents at Insurance for Texans and have a real conversation about whether workers' compensation makes sense for your ministry. You can find us at insurancefortexans.com, and if you would like a deeper understanding of church insurance in general, get a copy of our book, The Promise of Certainty, at thepromiseofcertainty.com. I'm Ron Wadley, and this has been Faith, Stewardship, and Insurance, Protecting Texas Churches. Until next time, remember, protecting church staff is one of the most important things that a church leader can do.
Thanks for listening to Faith, Stewardship, and Insurance, Until next time, remember, insurance isn't just about policies. It's about safeguarding the mission God has called you to lead.